I heard what you're saying about X. I saw a survey this week. It's now the most ideologically balanced user platform
Scott,
of any platform.
Stop.
I mean, did you ever think you'd see literal Hitler in the Oval Office with the President of the United States?
What do you mean?
about
Sitting
things
into
that
the
Donald
state
Trump has
capitol
actually
to commandeer the state government?
Yeah, thank God we have a president-elect who's willing to say it. We've had Americans held hostage since October the 7th. I mean, I can read a chart and I can read a poll. I guess you can't. But the reality is when he made that decision...
Your petty insults
when he made
are so weak, dude.
Joe Biden is leaving office making the strongest possible case for Donald Trump. You keep saying that. This is about illegal immigration. You all keep saying American citizens.
Well,
it's
how
about
do we
illegal
know
immigration.
whether
I think there are
the drugs
strategic
coming in
ways to
are
use the
from
United
Americans.
States military to control immigration here and drugs there. And Mexico needs to pay attention to this man and work with us or face the consequences.
Welcome to a new video, guys. I hope you enjoy this one. Scott Jennings is not holding back against his other CNN panelists. So let's hear about it.
I heard what you're saying about X. I saw a survey this week. It's now the most ideologically balanced user platform
Scott,
of any platform.
stop. It's too early. I just sat down. I've only been here for 2 minutes.
You cannot
continue to say
the show, but
you
it's
cannot say that.
So
That's not the case.
So
Who's the source of that?
What I find, we reported it on this network.
Look at this, the party ID among those who regularly use X/Twitter for news. Back in 2022, 65% of those who regularly use Twitter/X for news were Democrats. Just 31% were Republicans. Look at where we are today. Just a completely different picture. Now it's basically split between Democrats at 48%, Republicans at 47%. And what I should note, Mr. Berman, is this new overall makeup matches the overall electorate far better.
It's amazing, I think, what Elon Musk has done with X. Comment down below if you agree, if Elon Musk is doing a great job with X right now.
Shock. I mean, did you ever think you'd see literal Hitler in the Oval Office with the President of the United States? I mean, you know what I see in all
Scott,
this?
that's not. I mean, Biden didn't say that literally.
It was the underpinning of the Democratic campaign that Donald Trump is a fascist. And what I see in this, I'm glad it's happening, but what it tells me and what it ought to tell Democrats is they didn't mean any of it. It was all campaign rhetoric. And I think, to me, if you really meant any of it, this wouldn't be happening. So I'm glad it's happening, but to me, it totally blows up the way they ran this campaign at the end of the campaign.
But I don't think that's fair.
Got him!
I think Scott is totally right about that. They didn't mean any of it. It was just for the campaign. And they failed, ultimately. Donald Trump got reelected.
Got him!
There are Democrats saying they're not happy that President Biden made this decision.
Yeah, well, tough. The president went ahead and did what he thought was right for him and to protect his son.
Joe Biden is leaving office making the strongest possible case for Donald Trump that anybody could possibly make it, and that's that our government and our justice system is of, by, and for the elites and nobody else. He ran to banish Trumpism from our political system in this country, and he has left it politically and now institutionally the strongest possible political force in this country. It is a complete and utter failure by the head of the Democratic Party and the President of the United States. Never again do I want to hear, oh, Donald Trump's a liar. You can't believe anything he says. Donald Trump will abuse his power. Donald Trump will only use the system to benefit himself and his family and so on and so forth. Never again. I have one question for Karen, and that is, why did he need an 11-year blanket pardon going back to 2014 when Joe Biden was the vice president? We are sitting on the biggest cover-up of who knows what crimes, and Joe Biden amazingly knows exactly, roughly, when it started. He knows just about when it all started. He's leaving office in complete and total disgrace. He is a liar, and there is no other way to spin this today. This has nothing to do with Trump and everything to do with the character of Joe Biden.
Wow. Just wow. That's some very, very strong accusation there from Scott. But I kinda agree with him, I must say. it was a really, really bad decision for Joe Biden to pardon his son right now. It is basically a selfish decision. He didn't think about the party, the Democrat, or the country. He only think about himself and his family in this case, unfortunately.
That Republicans have been for years now trying to attack the president himself, go after his family. And when you have someone who literally ran their campaign on retribution, on the idea of I will be your retribution and getting back at his enemies, I would imagine, obviously I haven't spoken to the president about this, but I would imagine the president took a look at this and said, I want to make sure this is ironclad, that there is nothing that can be done to circumvent what I'm going to do to protect my son and to try to take the target off of his back once and for all. So that's my reading of it. But again, I think that the hypocrisy here, it is astounding. I mean, Donald Trump has said and done things, said things and done other things. And again, he's a convicted felon himself. He has used his power to benefit his friends, his wealthy allies. In this instance, we're talking about a man who decided to take care of his son after years of unrelenting attacks. I don't blame him.
You guys can spend all day long trying to spin this, that this is Donald Trump's fault, that this is somehow caused by Donald Trump. Oh, he's appointing the wrong people. Oh, he did it. Oh, this is the worst possible thing a president could possibly do to his party and to the country, to sit for a year and say, I will not do this. I will not do this. The rule of law is sacred. We have to respect the justice system. Juries, we have to respect juries. We have to respect the guardrails and the norms of our democracy. These people are liars. Inflation, it's transitory.
Wow. I like Scott. He just telling like it is. No BS at all. He's just telling straight. He's a straight up guy. I'm just wondering what he's doing on CNN. Oh,
Afghanistan, it's a success. The border is secure. Robert Hur is a liar. The videos are cheap fakes. Biden has a cold. He'll never drop out. Oh, I'll never pardon Hunter. It's all a lie. It is all a grift. Every American, except the most partisan, brain-rotted people, are going to be outraged by this today. He is going to leave off. You think 38, 39% job approval is bad? Just you wait. Just you wait. He's disgraced today. Outrageous. Are you fine with the lying? Are you fine with him sitting before the election all year and lying to the American people? Are you fine with the lying about it?
I don't think that he was lying. I think he made a decision after the fact and decided this was the right thing for him and for his family. Period. Full stop.
John,
Donald Trump decided that it was okay to pardon
Joe Biden, Karine Jean-Pierre. How many minutes of tape do we have of both of these people telling the American people this will not happen? It's I mean, we could play it all morning. It's a lie, and it's a lie to benefit his own family, and that's all that it is. And everybody who went on TV and said, oh, look how he's the modern George Washington, he's drained every ounce of credibility from every surrogate. If Karine Jean-Pierre had an ounce of self-respect, she'd get off the plane in Africa today, where they're going, so he can avoid the press and resign. He's drained all of her credibility, and everybody else who's defended this, it's draining for them forever.
You got it, dude.
Yeah, he's pretty much right on point on this. It was a selfish decision, and Joe Biden is only thinking about himself and his family.
NBC News reported that the president and his top aides met this summer and decided two things: that they were going to keep this option open, but they were going to publicly maintain that they would not pardon Hunter Biden through statements from Joe Biden and statements from the White House press secretary. They had a meeting. They coordinated the lie, I guess for political purposes. And now that he's leaving office, he is going back on what he told the American people. This isn't simply changing your mind. This is just fulfilling what you always intended to do. No Republican is shocked that he is doing this. What I am shocked at is the duplicity of the President of the United States and his top aides to come together and form this lie and stick to it this entire time. We all knew it was ridiculous. And now the American people are seeing what a disgrace he really
I think
is.
it's incredibly rich to have you say that the people got together and they were duplicitous and they created a lie.
NBC News said it.
I'm
NBC
saying they
News said
created
it.
a lie
NBC
because
News said it.
honestly,
NBC News.
what the other side has been saying.
Simply by saying, well, I'm just out looking out for the American
But why
people.
would he have answered?
What do you mean?
Why would he have given such an oddly specific denial numerous times? What could it have possibly been?
Scott, I have no idea. All
Politics.
Yeah, Joe Biden was just saying, no, I will not do it. No, I will not pardon my son, just because he wanted to preserve his political career and his future in the Democratic Party. But now that his political career is over, right? He's gonna retire. Then he can do whatever he wants with no repercussion at all. He doesn't care anymore. He's just gonna be gone in a couple of weeks, and that's it.
Corruption, partisanship, grifting, that's the answer.
The Trump administration had an opportunity to investigate it. They could not verify the things that you're alluding to.
They tried to, and he got impeached over it. They impeached Donald Trump over the investigation that Hunter Biden has now gotten a pardon for.
You don't think...
Just a quick point of fact.
2 points.
The Department of Justice investigations, indictments into Hunter Biden, this has nothing to do with the Republican Party. They don't run the Justice Department. The Justice Department, as you might know, since you had been in the government at one time before you lost your race this year, is an agency of the executive branch. The Attorney General is appointed by the president. This is the Biden administration investigating, charging, and ultimately finding conviction of Hunter Biden. The Republican Party runs no investigation. This is an official DOJ action, is it not?
Well,
just say yes.
No.
So, are we saying we have a problem with all of those things?
How many of the Trump children that we were told are corrupt needed pardons? Zero.
Scott,
No one looked into
okay.
them, Scott. I would love to know what your point,
getting
Scott, $2 billion from the Saudis.
The Trump children did not face federal charges. To your point, I'm going to give you that. But the person on here, Charles Kushner, who was convicted for a crime.
Did he go to jail?
Yes, he was living in Alabama prison.
He served time?
But he was
Yes, he was
Did
in
Hunter?
prison.
He did
They
not.
completely different crimes.
It strikes me that one of the arguments against
you didn't answer the question.
He's literally moved from a jail cell in Alabama to a...
They're not equivalent. They're not equivalent in any way, shape, or form.
Please.
But you're bringing up an issue, and you brought it up, so I want to address it. This idea that Hunter Biden is being selectively prosecuted. Now, one of the core criticisms of the Republicans, and Trump specifically, during the Biden years, is that the Department of Justice is engaging in selective prosecution investigations of Republicans. And today, what I hear Democrats saying is, you know what, you're right. Joe Biden's DOJ does engage in selective prosecutions, which is exactly why we need people to come in and clean it out now. There seems to be bipartisan consensus.
But
selective prosecution.
Does it open that door, Congressman?
What door? I'm sorry.
The door to...
Ask the question. Do you all think that Merrick Garland should be fired because of this corruption at the DOJ? You think there's corruption there. You think this was a politicized witch hunt. But the Attorney General should be held accountable, no?
These charges were trumped up because his name is Hunter Biden.
But wouldn't you, if you were the president, would you believe the Attorney General?
Let's consult our legal expert.
Doesn't matter. He was found guilty and he pleaded guilty. Even if the investigation was politically charged, he is still guilty of many, many crimes, such as tax evasion, money laundering, and many, many more. So it doesn't matter if it was actually from his political enemies or not. He is still guilty and he should repay his crime. Period.
Yeah, thank God we have a president-elect who's willing to say it. We've had Americans held hostage since October the 7th, and we've lacked a president that had the testicular fortitude to get our people back. This is outrageous that these Americans were taken and murdered, and we've basically stood back and given lip service to both sides, this and that. I want to hear... It's wrong. And this is the wages of weakness of a weak president. All those things you just listed, it's because we have a weak America. And now we're going to have a strong America. And I think Donald Trump's going to have far better success. We had world at peace when he was president. We had a peace agreement in the Middle East. But when you take Americans hostage and you murder Americans, you better damn well know the President of the United States is going to do something about it. And we've not known that for 4 years.
Yeah, I agree. It's not okay to just let hostages from your own country for months, many months in the hands of the enemy. That must change. We must definitely do something about that. And hopefully Donald Trump will do something about that. We will see.
The military is not supposed to take up arms against American citizens, period.
They're not. You keep saying that. This is about illegal immigration. You all keep saying American citizens.
Well,
it's
how
about
do we know whether the people are illegal or not?
Well, when we
know after they're shot.
We have 1.6.
We know after they die.
We have 1.6 million people in this country who've already received deportation orders from courts. They are here illegally.
No, it's always back to illegal immigration with people who support Donald Trump. It's always back to illegal immigration. But that's not the only thing that we're talking about here. We're talking about the American people. We're talking about taking up arms against them with a military that's supposed to be protecting them.
This is not right. You cannot say Donald Trump is sending the military to round up.
That's what he said.
That is what he is saying,
Scott. That's not what I'm saying.
Totally false.
He said that.
Totally false.
That's what he said.
Scott, Trump.
We're in the fever swamps, Abby. I'm sorry.
What is your dispute here? I'm not even really
because they're saying that he's sending the military to shoot or round up American citizens.
We did not say shoot.
I think
people,
the issue.
Scott.
The issue.
You said he just said take up arms.
Scott, why are you acting like Trump here? I mean,
look, I did say take up arms because when you send the army in, that's what they're there for.
A lot of faith in our military. I have a lot of respect for our military. I have a lot of respect for Pete's service, but that's not how the military is supposed to be used. I don't want to be bringing back waterboarding. I don't want to be a country that tortures people, especially if we're the kind of country that's going to be using the military.
What is she talking about? She's just talking nonsense right now. It doesn't make sense at all what she's saying. She doesn't understand the point. She doesn't make any valid point.
Against our own citizens. This kind of thing concerns me.
What do you mean use against our own citizens?
I'm talking about sending...
Blue states behave. What do you mean? What are you talking about?
I'm talking about sending the military into blue states to make them behave. Getting Gavin Newsom under control. Getting J.P. Pritzker under control.
What are you talking about? What do you mean? Like sitting in the state capitol to commandeer the state government?
I mean, I hope not, but he's definitely talked about that. I don't know why you're acting like you've never heard this
military to suppress, in the Black Lives Matter era, those protests in the street. He was there himself.
I think it's disingenuous to act like we don't know what she's talking about, to act like he hasn't said this. We know what he said. We all heard him say it. And so that's what it is. The military is only as good as the people who are running it.
These people are insane. They are completely delusional. This is just fake news. Oh my God.
Pete Hegseth has talked about putting things back in place that have not been policy for the United States because they're wrong. Yeah. And so we have to decide, are we going to do what's right, or are we going to do what Donald Trump wants us to do when we know that it's wrong?
Can I just make sure I understand your position? That you believe Donald Trump is going to use the military to set up effectively like coups in state capitals of states that he didn't win?
I think you're taking it a step or two.
No, she said make blue states behave, and she also said round up immigrants. That's not true. Well, it's deport illegal immigrants.
Scott, I think you just need to be a little more precise about these attacks. No.
Okay. Well, I'm sorry. Hold on. I mean, look. I think you're right. Let's be precise. Trump has wanted to use the military to do things domestically that actually the military is not allowed to do. I think that's the point that she's making.
Like what?
Like deport illegal immigrants. That is actually not a function of the military.
The military can absolutely be used to work with local officials, to provide military resources, but working with other parts of the federal government and local officials. We already send the National Guard to the border.
Not against the will of the local officials or the will of the state government. We have a federalist government here.
Scott, you know as well as I do that the National
saying exactly what Trump's saying. Oh, yes, we can. We can do it against the government.
When the National Guard gets sent to the border, they're sent for tactical and sometimes just providing material support to the border officials. They're not there rounding up migrants. But Donald Trump has been pretty clear. That's his vision. And people who understand the law around these things say that I mean, maybe I should...
Well, we will see. We will see what will happen. For now, Trump has been elected as the new president. It was the will of the people to put him back into the White House, and then he just gotta do what he was elected for. Solve the illegal immigration, get the economy back in shape, and end the war all over the world. And hopefully he will do exactly that. We will see about that and cover it all on this channel, so subscribe for more.
Like the lawyer, so we have two lawyers at the table, but... look, it's going to be an issue that's litigated if he tries to do it. There's no question about that.
The military is not supposed to take up arms against American citizens, period.
They're not. You keep saying that. This is about illegal immigration. You all keep saying American citizens.
Well,
it's
how
about
do we
illegal
know whether the
immigration.
people are illegal or not?
Well, when we
know after they're shot.
We have 1.6.
We know after they die.
We have 1.6 million people in this country
Scott,
who've already
you're onto
received
illegal immigration.
deportation
That's not
orders
the
from
point.
courts. They are
Hold
here
on.
illegally.
No, it's always back to illegal immigration with people who support Donald Trump. It's always back to illegal immigration.
People
but
are pissed about
that's not the only thing that we're talking about here. We're talking about the American people. We're talking about taking up arms against them with a military that's supposed to be protecting them.
This is not right. You cannot say Donald Trump is sending the military to round up.
That's what he said.
That is what he
That's
is
what he
saying,
said.
Scott.
That's not what I'm saying.
Totally false.
He said that.
Totally false.
That's what he said.
Scott, Trump.
We're in the
Trump
fever swamps, Andy.
Hold on.
I'm sorry.
What is your dispute here? I'm not even really
because they're
understanding
saying
it
that he's sending the military to shoot or round up American citizens. Not
we did
true.
not say shoot.
I think
people,
the issue.
Scott.
The issue.
You said take. He just said take up arms.
Scott, why are you acting like Trump?
Actually,
Let me ask Elliot here. I mean,
look, I did say take up arms because when you send the army in, that's what they're there for.
Elliot, let me just ask you a question here because I think this is partly what this is about. When we're talking about the
sort of the pass remain in Mexico, all of these sort of programs.
But again, Mexico has actually put a lot more border security on its southern border.
It's really working wonders. This is crazy.
Again, border crossings are down 75%. They're back to what they were under Trump.
If I were her, I would be prepared for my country to possibly have United States military incursions to take out the drug factories and the people who do this to us.
So you think we should not only have a trade war, we
Yes.
should have a military war with Mexico?
I think we have to do what we have to do to stop.
I'm glad we
the
all
drugs.
agree we should be de-escalating.
I think
It sounds like remember the Alamo. I mean, it sounds crazy.
For
like
people who
you're
are
going to
dying
send.
in
So
Kentucky,
not
it
only are
is.
we going to send the military on people who are here in the United States, we're now going to send the military over the border to attack Mexico.
No, I think
it's Americans who are bringing the drugs.
I think there
90%
are
of the drugs coming
strategic
in
ways
are
to use the
from
United
Americans.
States military to control immigration here and drugs there. And Mexico needs to pay attention to this man and work with us or face the consequences. If you look at the arc of.
Yeah, I think he just said that very, very well. Mexico should just work with the Trump administration or face the consequences. We will see what happened and cover it earlier.
The Biden presidency, he was in really good shape until August of 2021. When Afghanistan happened, he went under 40, she went under 40, and they really lived there until the end of the presidency. He's still there.
Why? Look, I'll tell you why.
Because he ran and told us that the adults were back in charge. And that was the opposite.
Yeah, they
of
were
that.
because
and
Donald Trump was a child.
And you know what else?
Yeah.
And you know what else? The fact that they wouldn't give these 13 service members' families the time of
bullshit,
day.
Dude.
Time of day.
I'm sorry, but Donald
wrong.
Trump hates veterans. He called them suckers and losers. He did. He absolutely, despite he has his whole life. He has his entire life.
I know you're super emotional. I just.
Of course I am.
Yes, these people are way, way, way too emotional about this. They should get control of themselves first.
I'm terrified.
I'm telling you, the political reality is that when they made that decision.
It doesn't matter. But you don't admit that Donald Trump hates veterans. You don't admit it. You deny a man, Chief John Kelly, a Marine. You say he lied.
You're still campaigning.
You say he lied. It's not over. It'll never be over.
I want to hear what Cole.
It'll never.
You're still campaigning. It's over.
You wish.
The political reality is when they made that decision and everyone realized, oh my gosh, these aren't the competent adults that we were promised.
Donald Trump is.
And then when you pile on top of it the decisions that made inflation worse, it was a compounding interest of political crap over time that they could never get out of, and that's how she lost the race.
There was a bipartisan consensus to get out of Afghanistan. That wasn't the point. It was the way it was done.
Decision to get out
hold on. It was the implementation. It was the fact that they took out our soldiers first instead of last, which is you would think would be common sense. And again, it's like you said, we thought the adults were in the room. That's why people voted for Biden. A return to normalcy, a return to competence. He's a lifelong public servant. We thought we're going to get normal, we're going to get competent. And that's what it's about.
We did. And the veterans community.
Afghanistan doesn't signal that. Afghanistan.
The wars in Afghanistan, the war in Iraq, the Republican policies that led to those wars, the idea that Joe Biden made the final difficult decision, and his administration and his military leaders. I mean, you guys live on the tippy top of bullshit mountain. If you actually think that so many people think that the pullout of Afghanistan was the pivot point, are you kidding me?
I mean, I can read a chart and I can read a poll poll. I guess you can't. But the reality is when he made that decision.
Your petty insults
when he made
are
that
so weak, dude. You have no idea. Like, I don't even understand if you hear yourself talking.
Look,
you can laugh all you want, but like, I can't read a chart. Like, it's
just a second.
It's so hacky. It's so uninteresting.
Look, the reason that we brought this up is because
give us the Jennings response at that table.
Oh, please. Donald Trump's gotten more votes every time he's run for 3 straight elections. He won the national popular vote for the first time for a Republican since 2004. And his party won the House and the Senate. The American people have given him a mandate to govern. They want the Republican Party to take action. And you, sir, bringing this up to me at the table would be wise to tell your party, don't be obstructionists, because I don't think the American people are going to like it.
Ooh, he is not getting the last crescent roll.
Yeah, well, I can see why you're down on Kamala Harris. I mean, she was one of the worst Democratic nominees of our lifetime. And
yeah, I agree. Kamala Harris was a really bad choice. It was a bad choice to replace Biden with Kamala Harris. Both would have lost anyway, but still, Kamala Harris ran a terrible campaign. She focused on the wrong issue and didn't make at all very clear that she was caring a lot for the working class, for the people struggling in their day-to-day life to buy groceries, to feed themselves and their family, and to put a roof over their head. Unfortunately, Trump did much better.
Presidential campaigns have a way of revealing the talent levels of the people who are in them, and I think we found the ceiling she bumped up against. If you hadn't remembered it from 2020 or 2019, she didn't make it to 2020. Now you really have seen it on display, and maybe she'll try it again in 4 years from now. We'll never know if another Democrat could win. But I'll tell you this, Joe Biden and his administration and what Kamala Harris helped him do have tainted the Democratic Party. It delivered Republican majorities in Washington, D.C., and now their party is in the wilderness trying to figure out what went wrong. And the American people are expecting Republicans to lead us out of this morass, this malaise, if you will, that we've been in for the last 4 years.
Something tells me that Scott's not making it to dessert at Van's house. I see his head shaking. Someone's getting thrown out. I don't know whose house it is right now, but I'm going to go on to the next one right now because, whoo, Scott. Okay, this one is for you, and it's probably sure to come up. Trump's only about loyalty himself and is stacking his entire cabinet with yes men and yes women. Scott?
I mean, honestly, are you complaining that a president of the United States is appointing people to his government that, oh my gosh, supported his election campaign, that support his agenda? That's unheard of. We've never heard of this before. That's crazy talk. Every president appoints people to the cabinet that supported them, that supports the things they want to do. I mean, my goodness gracious, Joe Biden ended up appointing Pete Buttigieg as Secretary of Transportation because he said, well, you know, I like trains. Choo-choos are fun. This is a great cabinet. This is great picks. These people are going to shake up Washington, D.C., and so what if they're loyal to Donald Trump? That's what the American people voted for, a government that's going to follow Donald Trump's agenda that he ran on. That's what they voted for. That's how he won. The people should execute his agenda.
I can agree with this. I think he's totally right about that. I think people want change. They want to see the economy back on track. They want to see the inflation increase, and they want people to execute what Donald Trump has as a plan. We will see if it's actually working. We will see.
Van, you're choking on that wishbone right now. I have 2 quick questions for both of you. Do we call it stuffing or dressing? And is it pumpkin pie or sweet potato pie? Go, Van.
We call it stuffing. and for me, it's sweet potato pie.
And Scott? Is it dressing or stuffing?
Well, I'm going to put my pilgrim hat on. Because this is the real debate, and I just want to say we're not MAGA tonight, we're MAPA. We're going to make America pilgrim again, and I'm going to disagree with Van. I do like sweet potato pie. I would opt for the pumpkin pie, and we do call it dressing. Some people in my family call it stuffing, but majority dressing. So once again, Van and I cannot seem to find common ground at this Thanksgiving table, but I will send you your pilgrim hat, my friend. This is a mandate. He's won the national popular vote. For the first time for a Republican, for the first time since 2004. This is a big deal. This isn't backing into the office. This is a mandate to do what you said you were going to do. Get the economy working again for regular working class Americans, fix immigration, try to get crime under control, try to reduce the chaos in the world. This is a mandate from the American people to do that. I think I'm interpreting the results tonight as the revenge of just the regular old working class American, the anonymous American who has been crushed, insulted, condescended to. They're not garbage. They're not Nazis. They're just regular people who get up and go to work every day and are trying to make a better life for their kids, and they feel like they have been told to just shut up.
It's sad. It's sad, but it's true, unfortunately. People want change. People want the country to get back on track. People want a better life and a better future for their children. That's why they voted for Trump. Whether Trump will solve this crisis or not is another question, but we will see. We will see what happens next in the coming weeks, in the coming months, in the coming years, and we will cover it all here.
When they have complained about the things that are hurting them in their own lives. I also feel like this election, as we sit here and pour over this tonight, is something of an indictment of the political information complex. I mean, we've been sitting around here for the last couple of weeks, and the story that was portrayed was not true. I mean, we were told Puerto Rico was going to change the election. Liz Cheney, Nikki Haley voters, women lying to their husbands. Before that, it was Tim Walz and the camo hats. Night after night after night, we were told all these things and gimmicks were going to somehow push Harris over the line, and we were just ignoring the fundamentals. Inflation, people feeling like that they were barely able to tread water at best. That was the fundamentals of the election. And so I think that both parties should always look at the results of an election and figure out what went right and what went wrong. But I think for all of us who cover elections and talk about elections and do this on a day-to-day basis, we have to figure out how to understand, talk to, and listen to the half of the country that rose up tonight and said, we've had enough. I heard what you're saying about X. I saw a survey this week.
That was
it's
a
now
great
the
video.
most
I don't know what you think, guys, but it was actually a great video to watch today. I hope you enjoyed this video with me today. I hope you had fun watching this. I hope you had a few laughs with me. Click right there to watch the next video, and I will see you there. Goodbye.